Good morning, this is Jeff Stutzman. So I'm going to pose a simple question this morning. Would you buy from or through a real estate agency that you knew had cyber issues in the past, or maybe, doesn't take it seriously with their agents, or just lacks the ability to protect folks that they're dealing with? And so it's kind of a harsh question, right? But the bottom line is that we've been playing with this new tool that we've got called Redxray, which is essentially a portfolio risk monitoring tool. And the idea is that I can build a portfolio of companies and very quickly look across the board in a very simple format, know how many records are showing up in WAPAC Labs intelligence. This is showing up over the last 5 years I did, but I can do it in any timeline I want. But how many records are showing up that shows that something is going on with a specific company? And so you might want to use this in your supply chain and check all of the companies. And one of the portfolios I built out, it was all of the companies and accounts payable that I dumped out of their ERP system. And so there's a nice, easy way. So I'm going to look. I've got Keller Williams on the top. Now, of course, I did this over long periods of time for demonstration purposes, not the point. But the bottom line right now is Keller Williams shows up 4,779 times in WAPAC Labs databases as having been recorded by keyloggers. So these are people with a Keller Williams email account who are showing up in the back end as being compromised with keyloggers who are communicating with their clients. And so you can see we've got a whole bunch of different things, and I'm not going to walk through those. But that's what it looks like. I get this every morning in my email for various portfolio companies. So I do it for gaming companies and casinos. I do it for real estate. I do it for healthcare. I do it for oil and gas. And so kind of a cool way to go. So the ISACs now are really liking this, and we're using it quite a bit. I'm going to go in and just kind of show you what the front end of this thing looks like. I'm in the Cyber Threat Analysis Center. I've already logged in with my two-factor authentication. Oops. So I've got that one saved. Don't crucify me for that on the video. But this is going to take a second to load up, but it's one of the coolest things going, I think. And we've got patent pending on this, and so it's. We'll just give this a second. Okay, so this is actually when it comes up on the dashboard, it's going to be all of the companies that we know about or that we've looked at, and we're building some charts. So it's going to take a bit, but I mean you could see right down the line there's ADP, and so payroll company, right? So they've got a lot of stuff going on, as you would expect. I also know that they have a pretty good security team that keeps this stuff under control, but what you're looking at here is for every one of those sources of data, and after it stops loading, it'll actually let me scroll over, mouse over, and you'll see what these things are. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. Come on. Okay, so there you go. So these are botnet trackers, and then we've got breach data, how many times we've seen this company's email accounts or something in their IP address, whatever, show up in breaches. Let's just look at, we'll use 3M, but botnet trackers. So over the course of 5 years, we've seen them 1,214 times. Now, and these are different sources. So if it's red, that means we know something. If it's green, that means we haven't seen anything. And so this is basically a frequency tracker of the activity coming in. So just a little bit of math to be able to keep it simple, stupid, and to keep everybody on kind of standard footing. Now let's go back to that real estate thing. So this is the portfolio for real estate, and I can see very quickly Berkshire Hathaway's got some stuff going on. Better Homes and Gardens has got not a lot, but that's probably the domains, or maybe they're smaller. Boston Properties, Brookfield, Century 21 is a popular, and you can see there's some activity here just this week. So these are all fairly recent on the chart. They're within the last 30 days. This goes back a little bit farther. Duke Realty, there's the Keller Williams. And so they've had a bit of a spike here in the last week. And so it probably would be good if Keller Williams might want to reach out to me, their CIO, their Chief Information Security Officer, whoever it is. We can run through that. But here's, I mean, right down the line. So how many of these would you actually feel comfortable working with? Now, what if you were interested in your supply chain? And so I have a company that we've codenamed for the purposes of this account. The portfolio is going to load up, but these are oil and gas suppliers to companies down in Houston. And so I would want to know before I started communicating with them, or before I connected pipes from one to another, federated, which of these companies is kind of in a good way and which are not. And so these are all of the companies that were dumped out of their accounts payable and in their ERP system. And I can walk right through this and say, okay, well, you want to federate to Aerotech. Well, Aerotech might want to have a look at some of these records because they've got a lot of stuff going on. And I don't know what they were used for, what they are used for. It makes no difference to me, but I would tell Aerotech that before they were allowed to connect to my client in a federated way or exchange, electronic communications, I would want to have a serious talk with their security people. Same thing down here, Air Power. Now all the charts haven't loaded up yet, but you could see. So when I get asked to federate to this company, the first thing I do is I come and I look at this portfolio of the companies and find out what we know about them from a security perspective. And if you wanted to just dig a little deeper, you can look through and actually have your techie guys look at the logs on the back end. So I'm going to look at the threats. Oh, I should have probably sorted them by the number of hits there. Let's do that. Come on. There we go. So let's just look at that. That's an associated domain of some sort with Aitken, I guess. And it's going to pull it up. Wow, slow today. All right, well, there it is. I was going to tell my guy that it's running a little slow. We might want to take a look, but here you go. These are all of the things that were associated. Not sure how they could be that they were a domain that was owned by the company, or maybe there was a common thread there. The emails that was used for the registrant, sometimes they match, sometimes they're different. But you can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff here. So if your techies want to know what's going on, this is how you go and you check it out. So again, this is kind of a cool little use case. Whether it's supply chain, you want to check on your supply chain. You want to make sure that the people that you're communicating with are clean. This is a really good place to go do that. If you want to have just a notification that your company is doing okay, give us a call. I mean, we'll set it up for you. We put you on a notification, so you'll get the same report that I get every morning on your company, and we're off to the races. So this is Jeff Stutzman, the Chief Intelligence Officer for WAPAC Labs, and also the Chief Information Security Officer for Trusted Internet. Thank you very much.